Hey, hello.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this.
We're so glad to be with you guys in another weekly video that we are now sending you. Um, we're thankful to the Lord that we're okay. We hope and pray that you guys are okay as you're watching this video. That you are healthy and that your family is safe. It's been a tough week for our church. One person from our staff has gotten COVID, one of our pastors actually, and so it's been kind of like a hard week for a lot of people in the church, and so many other people, members of the church, that have been found COVID in the last few weeks. And also this last week has been a little hard. I think we've reached our peak and stayed in our peak for several days. Not only Camino de Vida, but we believe Camino de Vida is one of the leading churches in the region, and we're bringing on board a lot of the churches that are in South America, trying to share the gospel during this time that is very difficult. About 950 people were just blessed with snacks on the street last week as part of one of our outreaches. And we continue giving what we call here grocery baskets with essentials, really, for a lot of families that are having a hard time bringing food to the table. So those are just a few of the things that we're doing here on the weekly basis, along with the online services, which, by the way, we invite you to just get on and watch the services. If you don't know Spanish, it'll be a good practice, I guess. They're enjoyable anyway.
Something else that is really exciting that we're about to launch is our English side to Camino de Vida, which is called Life Missions. We are about to launch something called virtual mission trips. And so I'm really excited to tell you guys a little bit more about that later on once we actually launch. But for right now, it's just going to be a way to connect churches and teams in the States with what's going on here. And so it's really exciting. We're still working on all the details. But if you are listening and you would like to participate in one of those virtual mission trips, then let me know so we can set that up.
And we have a couple surprises for probably the next weeks, hopefully, for you in these videos.
Do we?
I think we do. We're working on it, but
we'll see.
Just stay tuned.
We'll see. Okay, but I did want to share with you guys something, a story that happened to us last night. So, like every Sunday night, we all sit together and watch and participate in our Sunday night services that are online. Every Sunday night, our pastors sit down in their homes, sit down with us, and we actually take communion together. And so it's a very special time. And so we were doing that last night with Solon's parents. And after the service was over, Solon's parents stood up to go to another room. And I saw that his dad had actually been sitting on my laptop for the entire hour and a half, or hour, however long it was. And so I didn't see anything. I didn't want to be alarming. I just, after they left the room, I just went over and I picked it up and I opened it to make sure it was okay. And it was fine. But then after a few minutes, I left my computer and I came back after about 30 minutes and I checked on it again. And I saw that the screen was all like, I don't know, it was like glitchy, yeah, very glitchy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, so I freaked out immediately, because that's how I work. That's I do everything online right now. And so I was like, oh no. So I was like, Stalin, help. And so he came and he was trying to figure out what was going on. He's like, okay, don't freak out. And it ended up that everything was fine. He fixed it and it's okay. But for that split second, I just had a little bit of panic in me, and I was like, oh no, this cannot be happening right now in the middle of all this. Like, it's just too much. And I was thinking about it later, and I was thinking, you know, I feel like I can relate to that little split second of panic to what's going on right now in some of us, either in the States, here in Peru, different parts of the world. I just feel like there's just little moments of panic that we might be experiencing, and even just the world, you know, doing the riots and just things that are happening, and it's all for something good, and something good's going to come out of it. But I was just thinking about that, because, you know, in those moments of panic, our first thought as Christians should be to run to God, should be to pray and to ask God for help versus trying to fix things on our own, right? But we can't do that if we're not spending that needed alone time with God. And so that thinking brought me to a passage in Mark 1:35, and it says, "Early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went to a secluded place, and was praying there." And we find a lot of these passages in the Bible where Jesus, in the midst of him healing, or in the midst of him working, doing ministry, he literally just gets up and leaves. Sometimes he takes his disciples with him. Sometimes he just goes by himself and goes to a secluded place and just gets alone with God and prays. And that's the example for us as Christians, for what we need to do as well. And so I just love that during this time, especially for us when we're really not leaving the house at all, we get to spend a lot more downtime, a lot more time in silence, a lot more time secluded with God, and in those moments of panic and in those moments of frustration, that can be our first go-to versus the panic that follows. And also we're doing this thing called the Switch app with Dr. Caroline Leaf, and if you have never done it, I would highly recommend it for everyone. And basically it just helps you turn your thoughts and memories, your toxic thoughts and memories, to healthy ones. And I think that more than anything has been helping us as well, just turn anything that we're thinking, any toxic thoughts, anything that's going on, just spurring us forward in a positive way versus holding us down in a negative way. And so hopefully that encourages you guys, and I know that's pretty basic, like spending time with God, obviously that's needed for us personally. We share with you guys just personal stuff that's going on with us, and in hopes that it would be encouraging. And so that's what's been going on with us lately.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, it's very basic. There are tools, for example, that we've learned from this this person, Dr. Caroline Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, okay, if I'm not doing my devotional, questions that you can ask yourself why you're not doing it, right? And then you'll come up with an answer. And then other questions like, when are you going to start doing it? Or what would it take for you to start doing it? Because we know what we have to do. We all know that. But sometimes we need to pause, take a moment to just ask questions. So God has given us a mind, and his word says that it's a sound mind. So we can ask the right questions, and we'll find the right answers, because God is in us, and he will take it from us, and present it to us. So anyway, guys, we thank you so much for watching this video. We love you very much. We thank you for your support. Those of you who are supporting us monthly on a monthly basis, we thank you so much. We want to stress out again that we're doing this together. And honestly, if you weren't given, we probably wouldn't be able to do what we're doing here and being part of what God is doing in Peru. We certainly know that he will provide. So we don't want to put any pressure on you, but just know that by doing it, you are partnering with us, partnering with what God is doing in Peru. So we just thank you so much for that, and we love you guys.
We love you guys. We're on day 85 of the quarantine, and that means we'll probably do another 2 videos.
Probably 2 or probably more. We don't know.
We don't know yet.
Yes, we don't know.
Depends on those surprises that Stalin was talking about when that's going to happen.
Yes.
All right.
We love you guys.
We love you guys. Bye.
Till next week. Bye bye.